Hey everyone, I'm basketball loving Dr. NBA. Today I've got an interesting story to tell. There are always legends in different sports, in different eras. And if there's a prospect that shows skills and potential on surpassing those legends, we would call them the next Maradona or the next Michael Jordan, raising the expectations and wishing them to develop well. The names that are used to compare prospects in the NBA are not usually Michael Jordan, but a more recent star, such as LeBron James. In today's video, we will talk about a prospect that has the potential to become the next LeBron, making us always wonder if he will develop in such a way. This so-called hard-to-get Andrew Wiggins. Ever since he was a prospect, in his position he had remarkable physical traits and various offensive skills in his repertoire. But ever since he entered the NBA, he has made the fans very frustrated, and he was treated more like a circus pet than a key member of the team. We will see what made him like this in today's video. In Ontario, Toronto, Canada, in 1995, Andrew Wiggins was born. And because his father being a former NBA player in the mid-80s, and his mother being a former track and field national team athlete, and having 5 siblings that played basketball and ran together, he showed special potential. As time passed, a 9-year-old Wiggins wanted to become an NBA player like his father, so he joined the elementary school team. His height at that time was already over 5'7", and 4 years after that, with a fast pace of growth, at 13 years old, he could dunk whenever he wanted. And his play went viral on a video that was filmed, and his 5 million views on YouTube made him pretty famous. With his height close to 6'7" and having great athletic, Wiggins would slowly defeat his opponents one by one in high school, and with that momentum in grade 10, would go 44 wins and 1 loss, and took the championship in the province of Ontario. And right after, he went to Huntington, West Virginia in the US, and transferred high schools to Huntington Prep High School to continue his career there. The way he changed directions and moved to open areas was like a gazelle running around, and his powerful force when dunking down was like he teleported up there. That's how impressive it really looked. His average on his 11th year was 24.2 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 2.7 blocks. And on his graduating year, he had an average of 23.4 points, 11.2 rebounds, and 2.6 blocks, and showed sweeping performance. And his reputation in the sports media was insane, being ranked first out of all high school players, and getting the Player of the Year award once, that only one American prospect could get, and in different leagues got 3 Player of the Year awards as well, and also made the All-Star team, came out in famous magazines, etc. He was the most anticipated player since LeBron James. Analysts believed that he would go first in the draft for sure, and also ranked him 101 points in the NBA tactic ranks. And because of this, NBA teams, in order to get Wiggins, would lose intentionally and do whatever it takes. Now, already being known as a superstar, he enrolled in the prestigious Kansas University and ran the show with his athletic abilities. But the problem was, he started to show signs of being a bust. And his result after playing 1 year in university was an average of 17 points and 1.5 assists, being very average. And in the NCAA tournament, they were eliminated in the top 32. And on that day, Wiggins had put up 4 points, and because so, there were doubts on whether he would go first overall in the draft. But Wiggins, as if they wanted him to see, was picked first overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers, and before the regular season, where rookies and prospects show their potential, he entered the Summer League and showed his skill without any regret. And the fact LeBron James rejoined the team, they suddenly had a golden opportunity to win the championship. But right after that, LeBron James cut all ties off with Wiggins. Getting the championship twice in Miami, and now wanting to bring the championship home, LeBron James had returned to Cleveland. They didn't need a prospect that might blow or not. They needed an all-star player that could win the championship right away. And because so, the first pick, Wiggins, was traded very carefully to the Minnesota Timberwolves and obtained Kevin Love in the process. Anyways, the 14-15 season started, and being the first pick prospect, Wiggins had to show something. So he used his speedy athletic advantage and drove past opposing players. Even though he was a skinny body type, being only 192 pounds, his height was at 6'7", and his wingspan was 7 foot, which meant that he had the best physical qualities for his position. And plus that, having a 3'8" jumping ability from the spot, he would drive quickly and slam the ball for the dunk like he was an actual beast or something. And it wasn't just his driving. He could shoot mid-range shots while dribbling, and even 3-point shots as well. And from the defender's point of view, it wasn't easy to stop him. As a result, in his last 12 games, he had an average of 23.3 points, and took a step to being the key scorer on the team. At the same time won the Rookie of the Year award that could be achieved only once in a career, and successfully ended his rookie year. But from there on, something started to go wrong. In his second year in the 15-16 season, Minnesota after picking the first pick, Karl Anthony Towns, they had their focus on building a future rather than the team's rankings. And in the middle of that was Andrew Wiggins as the key scorer. He had good chemistry with the young players and showed great offense. And maybe because it was his second season, he looked adept, having an average of over 20 points. And plus that, going one-on-one with veterans in the league, he would show great performance on defense. And so in the next 16-17 season, he would upgrade his 3-point shots and get an average of 23.6 points. And with Anthony Towns, they would be in the top 20 for scoring points. But ironically enough, Wiggins was not getting compliments from the fans. That reason was because of his playing style that did not develop. His explosive athletic skills worked in his first year, but as time went by, there were many players that have analyzed Wiggins' play, and so he needed to fix his cons to regain his advantage. But Wiggins was not able to do that. The first problem was his ball handling. His dribbling with both hands was unsteady, and I lost the handle several times while driving, and as if he already knew, he would always drive to the right side while on offense. He may be fast, but he had become predictable. After going past one defender and running around, he would be stopped by the helping defender. The second was his game awareness and precision in passing. Usually when two defenders double team him, he was unable to see or pass to his open teammates. So he would either miss the right time to pass or get the ball stolen and ruin the offensive play. And because so, his average assists were only 2. There would be more flaws aside from those, but the most fatal one would be his poor determination. Even though he would be the key scorer for the team, having an important part, he would not give it his all when playing on the court. And because of that, he was not focused and would slack off in the games, ruining many situations. His consistency was terrible every day, and there were times when he would just shoot air balls all day. And even if his point average was getting better, in reality, it would be no help on the team's victories, being a very unproductive player on the team. And because of that, Minnesota's win rate was at the bottom. But suddenly, there was an accident that would shake the team's future. Minnesota Timberwolves, now facing the 17-18 season, had made an average of $29.6 million a year of a contract with Wiggins. This amount would be the same amount all-star NBA players get. This contract was absurd from everyone's point of view. But from Minnesota's point of view, they had no choice. It was because that no one wanted to come to a cold area team, and this organization would have headaches every year matching the players' demands. And the player that was left that had a potential future was Wiggins, and they couldn't lose him to another team, so they made a huge contract like that. And now with the mindset of leaving the bottom of the rankings for over 10 years, they brought in Jimmy Butler from the Chicago Bulls. It wasn't just offense Butler was good at, but also his defense, and he would take on the opposing team's key player, leaving Wiggins with less of a responsibility. But the problem was, his position would collide with Butler's, so his ball control time had decreased. And because so, his scoring had slowed down, and he would have great performances time to time, but that would just be a one clip for the highlights. His presence in the whole game had become below average. Having no difference in skills from when he was a rookie, losing momentum of play with air balls and bad passes, and having a shot success rate on free throws at around 60%, left Minnesota in a panic. But fortunately, they barely made the playoffs, coming 8th in the Western Conference, and finally it felt like they were out of the darkness after 14 years when Kevin Garnett was in charge. But that hope, after facing against the Houston Rockets in the first round, would be destroyed after losing 4 games to 1. And from there on, the teamwork inside the team had shattered, and the start of that was the lack of compete level with Wiggins and Towns, is what Buckler had said. Even having great skills and physical traits, not having the die-hard mentality to win would be a reason why anyone would obviously not win a cup, but ever be a superstar in the NBA. But in Minnesota's future, Wiggins and Towns were the perfect example of that. They don't have the hustle to throw themselves or have the compete level to not give up even when they're in a situation of losing. Especially Wiggins was terrible, and a devoted and passionate Butler would criticize Wiggins a lot. And as his time on the offense decreased, he should have at least showed positive energy on defense, but that as well was below average. And now, being worse than he was when he first got there, Wiggins was not enough. And the awful atmosphere in the team would slowly be fixed after Butler in the middle of the 18-19 season would be traded off to another team. And thanks to that, Wiggins had a chance to play offense more, and shortly after in a game against the Bulls, he shot 12 times and had 4 free throws, failing all of those and getting 0 points, showing a humiliating performance. At the times, Wiggins' salary, out of all 30 teams in the NBA, was 20th highest paid, and he had no choice of being an all-star, and he barely played the average game, and the fans were just getting ripped apart seeing this. And Minnesota without Butler had eventually fallen to 11th place in the Eastern Conference, hitting rock bottom again, and Wiggins' record went back to his rookie days. This player that people believed was the next LeBron to come every century, that used to be praised upon, would slowly become hated by the fans. And with pay being way past his actual worth, getting traded to another team was not an option. But in the middle of the 1920 season, he was traded to the Golden State Warriors. Lacking the compete level to win, and lacking basketball IQ, the rest of his athletic abilities are amazing, and hopefully he could live up to his pay as one of the highest paid in the NBA, and fix his problems and become a player that could carry his team. Okay, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back with more content.